Hi everyone, Heather here with astrologywithheather.com, and I'm back with another super special video. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing the winter solstice and the energy and transits on the winter solstice for 2022. This is a super important, super potent moment in time. This is not only the astronomical new year, but really it's the astrological new year because it's when the sun is at its lowest point in the horizon when we're here in the northern hemisphere. It's the darkest night of the year. It's kind of like a cosmic or solar reset for the year ahead. And it's one of the most potent and important times to set intentions for your year ahead, as opposed to doing it on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, which is a little off kilter with the astronomical alignments. And so today I have with me a very special guest, Persis Leandra, who is going to be talking with us about the solstice. And we're going to go really in depth about what the energy looks like and how you can use it to manifest and accomplish whatever you want to achieve, to set the best intentions, and to work with the energy instead of working against it. I'm so excited to have you here, Persis.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Heather. I'm super excited about this opportunity. A little bit about myself. As you mentioned, I am an astrologer and I was one of your students in the Cosmic Academy School. And I will say that was one of the best investments I've had with my just astrological studies. And a little bit of background about me. I am a Capricorn sun. I'm also a Capricorn rising. So this time of year, I do have a lot of Sag placements too. So really the winter Sagittarius Capricorn season, I love this time of year. And I understand, again, the time gets colder, it gets darker, and a lot of times, often, it can induce feelings of sadness or depression. And I really want to highlight the positive aspects. And just like you're saying, winter solstice is such a powerful day, and understanding the energy surrounding it and how we can best use that energy is just going to help us feel empowered and tackle this traditionally dark time of the year. So with that, I'll kind of just get things started if that works for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll make it so you can share your presentation here. And let's see here. There we go. All right. And so you should be able to share your presentation on the winter solstice. And Persis is a graduate of the Cosmic Academy of Astrology, like I mentioned before, but she's also a brilliant professional astrologer. So I'll post her links down below and we'll talk a little bit about how you can get a reading with her at the end. But here we go, winter solstice.
Woo, winter solstice. Thank you, Heather. So yeah, just kind of kicking off what I'm going to be talking with you during the time that we have together. Really explaining winter solstice. What is it? When is it happening this year? Which is a good segue into Capricorn season. Then, like Heather mentioned, we're going to talk about the major aspects, which is really going to be the best way to harness, use this energy to feel empowered through this season. I also agree with Heather that this is a wonderful, magical time to set intentions, to do spell work, to really work with the magic of the earth. And so I've highlighted some traditions and correspondences that you can use to really tap into the energy of the season. And then just again, not wanting to downplay that this time of year can really, just have people in their feelings or, being in depressive state. So I really am a big proponent of starting your day with positivity. And so I've highlighted some affirmations specifically for this season that you all can use to, again, look at the positive aspects of this winter season. All right, so jumping into it. So winter solstice this year, it is occurring on December 21st at 4:49 p.m. Eastern time. And so like Heather mentioned, it is really when the sun is at its lowest point. So it is its maximum tilt away from the sun. And so and that's in the winter season. And so it creates the shortest day of the year and the longest night of the year. And really for eons, cultures around the world celebrated the solstice with feasts, entertainment, different rituals. And for many ancient cultures, it symbolized the death and rebirth of the sun. Starting from this day, the daylight hours begin to grow, and this is also the start of Capricorn season. And so again, Capricorn season is kicked off with the winter solstice. So a lot of the winter solstice energy is going to be that Capricorn, feminine, earth, cardinal energy. And so in astrology, especially if you know your rising sign, you're going to know where this Capricorn energy is really going to be concentrated in your chart, and you can use that energy even more beneficial because you know exactly where it's going to be. But overall, this is going to be the energy of the season. So again, that feminine energy, and so that's being in the receptive mode, being reflective, being introspective, that cardinal energy, just like the other cardinal signs, Capricorn kicks off one of the seasons, and so this being winter, so it's also that earth, practical, dependable energy. Earth signs are in it for the long run, figuring out long-term situations, and then Capricorn themes around structure, ambition, practicality, family, and ancestry are also tied around to Capricorn energy. So you'll see those themes highlighted throughout this season. And then some of the actions. Again, like Capricorn is that cardinal energy. And yes, it is a feminine sign, but it's a cardinal sign. So this season is going to get you excited to get things done. Think about different boundaries that you want to set, or new ways of doing things, or figuring out how you can subtly make it towards your goals. So those are some of the energy to look out for Capricorn season, and also again winter solstice.
And so for Capricorn season, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which there's a lot of themes that you pointed out in there. And so kind of what is your take on that connection between Saturn and what you mentioned at the start of this video? This can be a more challenging time for a lot of people. You'll see a lot of people feeling more down, more depressed, more sluggish, more isolated around this time period, which are kind of the shadow sides, I would say, of this energy.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for pointing that out. Yes, I mean, Saturn is the planet of really our taskmaster, teaching us lessons. It does have that, can have that depressive energy, or moving things slower, or just kind of having things stalled. And so with this energy, kind of knowing that that is happening, being really in tune to what you're feeling. And so again, that's where that feminine energy comes into, and being really introspective, and really sitting with your emotions. I think a lot of times people kind of just, it's a really uncomfortable feeling, and so they kind of want to numb it away, not think about it. But really, this energy is asking us to come into our psyche, and really tap into what is going to propel us forward, even though this is a darker time of year. And it's important for us to tackle the light and the dark. And so I would say for folks, especially folks that I consult astrology with, is don't be afraid of that shadow side. Yes, Saturn is a malefic, and there are going to be negative aspects, but each planet is necessary and important to the astrological cycle. So again, knowing that Saturn, and this is the season that's ruled by Saturn, is going to have that energy, being mindful and preparing yourself, and understanding that, all right, this is the theme of this. I have control over my emotions, and I'm going to work through this.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like integrating that opposition of Cancer and Capricorn on that axis is a lot of what you're talking about here. So if you're too drawn down by the Capricorn, look to the Cancer, that support system.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so really jumping into aspects of the day. And so this is really, I think, the best part of astrology, and is understanding the energy and the aspects that are at play, so you can be prepared to, tackle and feel empowered with, how it's going to affect you. And so we'll kind of jump into it, and Heather, definitely feel free to jump in, because there's several things going on, so not just through winter solstice today, but the actual season of Capricorn, because as we know, some planets move really quickly, like the moon, but some planets move really slowly and stay in signs for months, years, different seasons. So kind of jump right into it. So the first aspect that I wanted to highlight was the Sun square Jupiter. And in astrology, squares really can be a point of tension, but through action, positive results can be achieved. And so with the Sun being in Capricorn and Jupiter being Aries, we are dealing with cardinal earth and fire energy. And so, this really creates optimistic energy that can be high spirited. You might be feeling really good, which might make you feel really comfortable in spending and your finances. And so with that Jupiter energy, being mindful of some of the shadow sides of Jupiter, yes, it's a benefit, but sometimes, we can take it to the extremes and being excessive, whether that's spending too much money, or just being mindful of overdoing things in the holiday. So eating a lot or drinking a lot or partying a lot. So being mindful of that. And then again, with this Jupiter energy, and then also it being in cardinal signs, you're going to feel more inspired to help your fellow man, being more generous. And so, yeah, so those are some of the major things with this aspect. Anything you'd like to add, Heather?
I was just wondering if maybe you felt like this way too, or maybe not. But to me, this square feels like too many goals or hitting your goals too hard, like right at the get-go, right at the start of the new year, because it's that Capricorn energy. I mean, it's very goal oriented. It's very much about like how you're going to get to the next stage. And then there's this Jupiter in Aries, which is like, bam.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's again, like being mindful of, both of these really like these big energies in different ways. Like you said, Capricorn, constantly planning, you have all these ideas, you have all these goals, and then Jupiter, the planet of excess and, sometimes blind optimism and feeling like you can do everything and anything all at once. And then that square energy kind of like smacking you in the face and saying, all right, we are going to accomplish some things, but we've got to figure out what are the things that we're going to tackle first.
Mhm.
Again, just being mindful of, what is it that I'm focused on, or what is it that I want to accomplish during this season?
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome.
And so next up, we have the Sun squaring Neptune. And so Neptune right now is in Pisces. It loves Neptune, really enjoys being in Pisces. It's home. And so with this Pisces energy, and especially mixing with this Capricorn energy, there is, Neptune likes to dissolve boundaries, dissolve structure, where Capricorn sets structure and sets boundaries. So, although it's not an opposition, it is a challenging aspect, and where that if you're not mindful, this energy can really, manifest in ways that are maybe unproductive, a lot of daydreamy energy, a lot of kind of not being in reality or getting things, accomplishing as many things as you would like to. However, understanding that this is the vibe, this is one of the vibes of this time frame, you can really harness this energy into creative outlets. And so, I think again, thinking about the shadow side of Neptune, there's a lot of positive I guess, associations with Neptune. So fantasy, imagination, but there's also that shadow side of escapism and addiction, and again, not grounding yourself in reality. So understanding that during this time frame, this energy is in the air. So just being very aware of your surroundings, what it is that you want to accomplish. And I thought that, especially I thought this tied really well with just the holiday season, and also like shopping for other people, or being mindful of your presence while shopping. Is being more, this energy can cause being more susceptible to being swindled or being tricked. That's that Neptune, squaring Capricorn energy. So I would say, like, really being aware of your surroundings when you're going out shopping, or really being understanding of like what that deal is that you're getting. And so this is just some practical ways to really handle this energy. And then again, just knowing that this season, we talked about that Saturn influence in Capricorn, that you could go into a depressive state, or just more anxious around this season. So being mindful of your tendency to escape, whether that's shutting the world off and just partying, or drinking or eating in excess, but just being mindful that is an energy that we will be dealing with during this Capricorn season.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And even with the sun moving out of Sagittarius and being in an out of sign square, it's still super potent.
Yeah.
It's just potent in a different way.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we have Moon opposition Mars. And so when planets are in opposition, another challenging aspect, they're totally opposite sides of the chart, so it's really hard for them to communicate. The moon is the planet of emotions, our intuition. It's how we, react, interact with the people closest to us, our private phase. Mars, that planet of aggression, ambition, but also action. And so, as we know, Mars has been retrograde for quite some time now. And so it is in the mutable sign of Gemini, and the moon is in Sagittarius. And so we are dealing with mutable fire, air energy. And so with these two planets being in opposition, again, we're talking about our emotions, we're talking about our aggressions, moodiness, being reactive, being argumentative, especially with the folks that we're close with, those can come up. So knowing that that's the energy, maybe hold your tongue during some conversations, or maybe kind of, understand that maybe you're reacting more than you usually would, or little things are going to maybe annoy you as they wouldn't, and just kind of understand that that's the energy of the moment, and just kind of, thinking back to those Capricorn themes, controlling your emotions, grounding yourself, having some introspective moments, and understanding that, yeah, this energy will pass, but some of these things will definitely flare up. With Mars and Gemini and retrograde, you might have a tendency to act without thinking. You might also have an active mind. There might be more, anxiety. Mars is in Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Mercury can have a tendency to kind of drum up anxiety. So be mindful of that. And then it's also, again, having an active mind, but because Mars is in retrograde, actions might be slow to form. I think that this is also great energy because, again, you have this combative opposition energy. It could actually be really good to kind of channel this into fighting for a cause this season, or taking up a passion project, whether that's like, coordinating your local Toys for Tots, or fighting for the disadvantaged in your community. But even though that there's an opposition, again, like, all of these things are important to the cycles of astrology, but using this energy to create something positive.
Yeah, I love that. And I love your suggestions for that Mars retrograde too, because I'm sure I might, maybe I've said this at some point, but when Mars is in retrograde, people tend to have an easier time fighting for somebody else than fighting for themselves. And if you do fight for yourself, you're probably going to lose. So instead of being on the losing side of a battle, help someone else be on the winning side. I love that.
Exactly. And 'tis the season. I mean, this is the season of helping your fellow man, of good cheer. So again, like the energy is definitely there to help with these efforts.
Okay. And do you think that this energy, like, how do you think this impacts the year ahead astrologically speaking? Like, is this a time where whatever's going on now is going to be carried forward? Like, what does this look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I mean, with Mars being in retrograde and it being Capricorn season, it's still going to be a reflective period. It's not, the Mars is not in a position to really help you act. And so this is really going to be the time, and a lot of retrogrades are like this, is reevaluating, replanning, reinvestigating, and really, like you said, this kind of helps you set intentions and figuring out, like, throughout this year, the different experiences you had, what worked, what challenged you, and how might you want to carry things going forward. So it might not be the best time to 100% start this new endeavor because the energy isn't really there to kind of push you forward, but it is there to say, all right, this, I really like this. So how can I do more of this going forward? Or I didn't like this, or this was challenging for me. How can I look at this proactively and set my intentions to have a more positive or abundant experience in 2023?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
Awesome. And so, all right, so I think this is our first trine. So Moon trine Jupiter. And so in astrology, a trine aspect, it is one of the major positive aspects. So they are easy flowing energy. The planets are talking with each other. They're, generally in the same element. And so we have the Moon in Sagittarius, we have Jupiter in Aries. And so, again, working with mutable cardinal fire energy. And so, 'tis the season. This aspect brings the optimistic, friendly vibes. This is a really great energy. A lot of in ancient times, the moon really, I mean, we have several things that represent earned income and money and astrology, but the moon is one of those as well. And so, with the moon trine Jupiter, this could really indicate some positive business results, whether that's, getting further in a project, or that could potentially help you earn more money or actually earning more income. But it's really good energy for positive business results or just positive relationships in general. With that Jupiter energy, you could be exploring places through short trips. If you're not actually taking the trips, it could be something where you're reading a book. Jupiter is, education, philosophy. So you could be, living, fantasies with these books or watching documentaries. This is also going to bring up family life, positive interactions. You're going to feel satisfied in those relationships. And with the moon and trine Jupiter, especially in Sagittarius, the moon in Sagittarius trining Jupiter, you're going to feel more charitable. Either you're going to be inspired to give more, or other people are going to inspire you to give more. But it's a really great positive energy. This is the quintessential, holiday vibes, and this is energy that you really want to harness, especially with your magic, your spell work. But moon trine Jupiter, really, really great aspect.
Right. Awesome. That all sounds wonderful.
And so, all right, so Mercury conjunct Venus. And so in astrology, conjunctions are when planets are close together within 10 degrees, and the energies blend together, and it's often hard to distinguish the planets from each other because they're really working as one. And so for this conjunction, Mercury and Venus are both in Capricorn. So this is super cardinal Earth energy. And so Mercury, it's our planet of communication, process, intelligence. Venus is our planet of harmony, love, beauty, and really having those planets really blending their energy together. There is going to be, this great energy of good cheer, lightheartedness, a youthful spirit. With that Mercury energy, you could feel compelled to do a lot more writing, more journaling. You could feel that could be a great creative outlet for you overall, just embracing the feelings of creativity. With Venus conjunct Mercury, again, Venus, the planet of beauty, Mercury, the planet of communication. You could be communicating your thoughts more easily. You could be finding it easier to figure out the right words to say, and you just might be more appreciative of creativity, things related to literature. You might spend more time on these activities, whether that's, going to see the Nutcracker with your family or going to a holiday movie. But this is just a really great time for positivity with your friends, with your family, and just kind of, enjoying this energy that these two planets create.
Yeah, and this one in particular is extra special because it comes exact 3 times and it like lingers for a couple of weeks. So I feel like this is a huge blessing for communication over the holidays. I know a lot of families have been strained in that area, especially since 2020, and there's been a lot of divisiveness, a lot of difficulty at the family dinners, and I think this is actually almost like a resolution point for a lot of those issues, or at least keeping the peace through the holidays, which I think is going to be like a huge relief for a lot of people.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And that's, again, why I love astrology so much. So, knowing that you might be, in a situation where, you have completely polar opposite viewpoints of like your sister-in-law or your brother-in-law, but knowing that this blessing of Mercury conjunct Venus is coming, it might just set your mindset to say like, all right, I can overcome this. This isn't going to bother me. We're going to have positive, harmonious experience, and you can kind of carry that energy with you throughout the day. But yes, I agree with you, and just kind of knowing how to handle or deal with this energy, or knowing just like what cards you have, like what I guess cards you're holding,
Mhm.
kind of makes the season more magical.
Yeah, I love it. Okay.
Awesome. All right, so we have another trine, Venus trine Uranus. And so Uranus, it is our revolutionary rebel planet, rules Aquarius, rules all things eccentric, rules over technology, can also rule over astrology. And so with Venus trine Uranus, so we talked about Venus being the planet of harmony, love, beauty. And so both of these signs are both of these planets are in earth signs. We do have the cardinal Capricorn energy, but that fixed Taurus energy. And so I often see with these Venus trine Uranus aspects, there's unexpected romance. Or your sweetheart, if you're already partnered up, could plan something romantic for you or have, some sweet surprise for you. But Venus trine Uranus, usually there is some positive, unexpected surprise in the love department. It could, it could, depending on where it is also happening in your chart, it could be a surprise of having a baby or, something unexpected, but also something that's going to make you really happy, like that. Again, with that Venus ruling relationships. This is going to be a great time for harmonious interactions with your close friends and families, but also your partnerships. You might have feelings of nostalgia, being sentimental around this, but also you're more tolerant, more accepting. That's that Uranus energy, being open-minded. The Uranus energy also might have you feeling compelled to join groups, especially online with that technology aspect there. Or you might just be filling your time with more unique activities. But whatever is happening, you're in for a sweet surprise with Uranus. All right, so Jupiter sextiling Pluto. And so sextiles in astrology, they're another positive aspect. Pluto, although it is one of the smaller planets that packs a big punch, it is the planet of transformation, of rebirth, of power. It rolls over Scorpio, so it has, the ability to be intense. And with it, sextiling Jupiter, there could be these desires for a fresh start, new beginnings, personal transformations, with Pluto again ruling over Scorpio, really ruling over all things esoteric, occult-like astrology. You could be tuning in to spiritual practices, or for some, you might just really be leaning into your intuition or kind of going with your gut more, or feeling compelled to go with your gut more. That Pluto energy, Pluto's been in Capricorn for a while, but that really kind of gives you that determined energy, and Jupiter with the sextile, makes it positive, and you're really developing your powers to their fullest potential. With that Capricorn energy and also the Pluto energy of intensity, it's an excellent time for focus, an excellent time for leadership. I will say, with Capricorn and really that Pluto energy, just being mindful of being really domineering in some of your activities and ideas. You might be really, really excited, but understanding, it may come across as not so much, I don't want to say intimidating, but just powerful to some people. So just being mindful of working with that energy and how things can come across. But it really does encourage, just positive energy and starting, having a fresh, clean start.
Yeah, and this one's especially interesting because Jupiter is moving out of that sextile by sign and by degree, and it's actually starting to apply to a square, like a degree-based square. So we have this Jupiter square Pluto energy at the same time that we have this Jupiter sextile energy. So it's almost like a mixed situation. So that like domineering, like over the top, like almost intimidating energy can definitely be a thing, but it's not as much of a thing as it will be later.
Yeah, exactly. Moving into it. But yes, this is definitely that Pluto Capricorn energy can be intense. They're both intense planet, intense sign. All right, so Saturn square Uranus. So we really talked about both of these planets, but Saturn, it's at home and Aquarius. I would say we've talked about Saturn being the planet, the taskmaster, the, sometimes judge and jury, really wanting you to learn those lessons, but also, just ruling over depression, sadness. So Uranus, that unexpected kind of surprise. So being mindful, watching out for, sudden onsets of anxiety or depression. But again, being mindful that, hey, this is the energy, this is what's happening, in the sky, and being mindful, that and how it might affect you, with Uranus being the planet of revolutionary, being a rebel, wanting to break free of things. It rules over Aquarius. And then you have Saturn, who really will structure the way things have always done, patriarchy. So there could be some unexpected issues around freedom or structure, and that could be externally or internally. And so again, like during the season, it's asking us to be reflective, to be introspective. Like, what are some things that are holding us back that we're doing ourselves? And so not just thinking about job or relationship or other people, but what can we control or what can we change to, create a more positive, abundant life for ourselves. Again, this Saturn square Uranus energy, you might feel like you're swimming against the current. There are, again, going into yourself to kind of working on controlling your emotions, working on kind of grounding yourself, balancing that energy, understanding that this energy, you really want to start something new, but this energy might, could potentially hold you back. But understanding that and knowing how to, or just working to kind of harness this energy, you can really create something that is tangible. So you can really create some kind of action that will help you get to where you want to go for 2023.
Yeah, and thank God this is like moving on finally after 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. I would definitely agree. Definitely agree. So yeah, that was the major aspects, like I said, that I think that understanding what's going on, how to harness the energy, that's one of the main benefits of astrology, is being prepared for, what's going to come your way. I think I already mentioned this, but astrology is, to me, it's just like, eating well, having a full night's sleep, exercising. It's just another tool in your tool belt to help you live your life to the fullest. And so, as you mentioned earlier, I completely agree with you. Winter solstice, I think, is a better time, a more potent time to set your intentions versus the new year, obviously with our traditional calendar, but just knowing all of the energy that we have, the start of the Capricorn season, it is such a potent, powerful energy to tap into. And I have really just put together there's so many practices, so many traditions, from the eons of folks celebrating winter solstice, but also some correspondences to really just enhance your earth magic or spell work or spirituality if you choose to participate for this holiday. All right, so kind of just jumping right into it, starting at the top, reflecting on the year. As I mentioned, this really starts the Capricorn season. And yes, we are, like a lot of animals, it feels like the hermit hibernation mode, but it really offers you that opportunity to kind of look on the year, the previous year, this year, the close of the year. What are things that you can take away that really helped you? What are some things that might have been challenging that you want to work through for the new year? And whether that's meditating or journaling, but really taking that time to reflect on what this year meant for you. I also encourage folks to honor their ancestors and loved ones. That, Capricorn, it's funny that Capricorn Cancer axis, I mean, both signs in different ways. Family is so important and family traditions are so important. So a lot of times folks will create ancestor altars or just pray to their ancestors or ask their ancestors for guidance. So that's a really great time to do during this season. Something that my husband and I love doing are hosting bonfires. And this really kind of goes back to the pagan times with burning Yule logs and keeping the warmth in the cold season. But a practice that I love doing is using the fire to, one, burn away your fears. So whether that's, writing them on pieces of paper and just kind of burning them into the fire. And then also writing your passions. I love to do that with bay leaves. Bay leaves are, in my opinion, super magical and kind of helping start, initiate intentions. And so, you're burning your fears, but you're igniting your passions. And that's something that's super fun to do during this season, especially, during the pagan times and during times of these Yule burnings. Folks were doing this with their towns and with their, it was a social activity. So again, a lot of, a fun thing that you can be doing for this season. Another thing that a lot of us do and don't realize the kind of roots behind it is decorating our homes with evergreens and holly leaves and plants. And so really the significance of the evergreen tree is really highlighting that even in this cold, dark season, life still exists and there is still, growth, and that even through this dark season, the sun is still there, the sun is coming back. And so whether that's a beautiful fresh Christmas tree or a beautiful wreath or even a fake Christmas tree, this can all kind of symbolize that, cyclical, all seasons are important, all seasons are, life-giving. And then really what we've talked about kind of at the start of this video is this is a perfect time to set intentions for the new year. And so I'm gonna jump into correspondences. And so again, if you are someone that practices earth magic or spirituality, you can use, I'm not gonna go through all of them. I'll highlight some of the, ones that, folks will probably resonate with around the holiday season. But I like to, use these to enhance spell work, but to also really tap into the energy of the season. And so herbs, some of the ones, that might catch people's eyes: cinnamon, mistletoe, peppermint. If you're working with any animal totems or spirits, reindeer, the horse, the raven. Colors, you'll see, traditional Christmas colors are the green, gold, the silvers, the reds. I love using crystals. I'm Capricorn, so I've got garnet on deck and I'm wearing it right now. So emerald, rubies, those are also great to use. Foods, it's, the typical things that we have around the holiday season. And then spell work, which again aligns with the Capricorn elements of introspection, reflection, planning for your future, traditions around family. But yeah, those are all things that you can use to really tap into the energy, use this energy to your benefits, and really set some amazing intentions for the new year. And again, like this, not only is it a powerful time to set intentions, but it's right before the new moon in Capricorn season. So you've got that energy going. So it all aligns to really being the perfect opportunity for you to set yourself up for success for 2023. And then the last thing that I really wanted to highlight, again, I'm a big proponent of starting your day with positivity. Understand that, seasonal affective disorder is a real thing during this time of year, but would love to encourage folks to lean into the positivity of that season. And I'm not going to highlight, or go through all of the affirmations, but I did just put together some that are specific to the winter solstice and Capricorn season. And some of my favorites that I just wanted to highlight are: starting today, my days will only get lighter and brighter. Through the cold season, I radiate warmth, joy, and love. And just, starting your day with these positive affirmations can really kind of change the trajectory of your morning, the day, the week, eventually the year. And so again, I think going into this dark, colder season, it's important for us to find those lights, find the things that we can celebrate, and just kind of harness in this powerful energy that folks for thousands of years were really tapping into. So that is what I have, and just really excited to share this information and converse with you on this.
Yeah, thank you so much. And this is such a good, like, positive note to end on. I absolutely love this. And thank you so much for putting all of this together. This is super informative, super detailed. I hope you guys will take this information and run with it when you're setting your intentions for the new year. And just when you're doing whatever it is that you do for the solstice, I'm sure everybody here has their own thing. And thank you so much, Persis, for putting this together and for joining me today. And so, if people want to find you and book a reading with you, where can they do that?
Yeah, thanks so much. So, folks can find me a couple of places. So, persisleandraastrology.com is my website. You can also find me on Instagram. My handle is Capricorn Magic 0114. And then I also just started a YouTube channel. So, my
Oh,
handle is,
yeah.
yeah, Persis Leandra. So, thank you so much. And I, again, just want to shout out Heather's Cosmic Academy. I mean, it really, like I said, I had been self-practicing and self-teaching myself, and it really gave me the confidence to be like, okay, I know what I'm doing. And putting all the pieces together. And I'm big Capricorn energy. My Mercury's in Capricorn, so I really appreciated the kind of practicality of your lessons, but also the easy to understand and the processes that you had in place. So big shout out to Cosmic Academy.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. And I mean, if you guys want to join in, we're opening early enrollment just for waitlist people in January. So you're going to want to get on that down at the link below. And I should also mention we're doing a free beginners astrology bootcamp that starts January 2nd. So if your intention for the new year is to learn astrology, you can start it off the right way. And thank you again so much for being here with us. And we'll definitely have to do this again sometime. And we'll see you in the next one, everyone.
Bye. Thanks so much.